Welcome to Hello Talk English Pod.
Welcome to Hello Talk English Pod.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's lesson. I'm Yumi.
Hi, I'm Clem.
Today's lesson is about rescheduling a meeting. So Nikki and Dave are colleagues at a consulting firm and they have a conference call, but their manager is not in attendance and they need to reschedule the call. Let's have a listen to the dialogue.
Hello, Dave. This is Nikki calling from the New York office. Are you ready for our 9 a.m. conference call?
Hi, Nikki. I am here. But unfortunately, Craig, the department manager, is not here. He has been called into the Singapore office at the last minute.
I see. Well, in that case, we will need to reschedule, as I need his input and approval to proceed with the project.
Sure thing. Let's reschedule at your earliest convenience, as we cannot afford any delays with this project.
I can reschedule the call for Friday morning at 11 a.m., and I will be free for 2 hours.
Craig already has a meeting at 10 a.m. That will likely run for an hour or more. However, I will ask him to push it back to accommodate you.
I would appreciate that very much. I'm looking forward to our call on Friday.
All right, so Nikki opens up the conversation by saying, Hello, Dave. This is Nikki calling from the New York office. Are you ready for our 9 a.m. conference call? The word ready here, this just means prepared.
Yeah, have you done the necessary work,
Right.
to be ready for it, to be prepared for it? So think about if there's a baseball team and they're ready for Game 6, it means they have done all the preparation and done all the necessary work and practice to have that game.
Right. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that there's so much preparation needed. For example, if I said, hey, are you ready for our workout? Meaning, it's about to start. Have you arrived? Have you changed? Are you ready to go in? Something like that.
So Dave lets Nikki know some unfortunate news and says, Hi, Nikki, I'm here, but unfortunately, Craig, the department manager, is not here. So a department is basically any part of an organization or a business. They deal usually with a specific or particular area.
Right. You might have a finance department, a human resources department, marketing department.
Yeah. And also, if you're thinking about different parts or sections of, they call them department stores, where they have like the men's department, the women's department.
Right. The children's department.
Yeah.
Afterwards, Dave says he has been called into the Singapore office at the last minute. So when something happens at the last minute, it means that it just happened, right? It was perhaps unexpected. Last minute kind of implies that it happened minutes ago.
Yeah. Think about also the expression at the buzzer. During a basketball game, there's that last minute. You're watching the seconds go on the clock. So legitimately, you're seeing the time disappear. And so maybe they make the shot or they don't make the shot. The last minute at the buzzer.
Right.
Release the ball and So Nikki acknowledges and says, I see. Well, in that case, we will need to reschedule as I need his input and approval to proceed with the project. So to reschedule is just to change the plan, to replan and reorganize things.
Right. If you see again, the prefix here, means to do something again, so that they will have to reschedule, replan the time to have a call again. Nikki continues to say, as I need his input. Input are your ideas, feedback, comments that you would want to give to perhaps your teammate or other people you're discussing something with.
Yeah, your contribution.
Right. However, you also see or hear the word input when you are dealing with like cables or wires, right? You're not sure which socket or kind of hole certain wires are supposed to go into. It will tell you which input certain things need to go in. These wires are sending, some information through the wire and then into whatever electronical box it's going to. And the same idea with input in terms of your feedback. This is information that you're giving to other people.
Mm-hmm. So they said they need his input and approval to proceed with the project. So approval is just his permission. They need him to say, okay, to proceed. In this case, proceed, it just means to continue or to go ahead.
Right. And Dave says, sure thing. Let's reschedule at your earliest convenience. So earliest convenience means whenever is best for the person that you're talking to, right? Mm-hmm. Whenever time works for them, whenever they will be available next.
Yes, let's reschedule at your earliest convenience as we cannot afford any more delays with this project. So afford means they can't spare, they can't allow. They're not able to give any more time. They're not able to let that happen. And delays, it means just to postpone it or to put it, for a later date or a later time.
Right. And just briefly going back to the word afford, think about when you can't afford to buy something, right? You can't spare that money because perhaps you don't have enough.
Yeah, in this case, it's enough time.
Right. And with delays, you know, you can think about flights, right? Planes are constantly delayed, which is super annoying. But it means that they're rescheduling that time perhaps to a later time, hopefully not too long.
Right.
So later on, Nikki suggests to have the meeting on Friday morning at 11. Dave says that Craig already has a meeting at 10 a.m., but he says that he can ask him to push it back to accommodate you as Nikki. So a couple things we'll look at here. The first one being push it back. So in this context, Dave is talking about pushing the time back. And when you hear this phrase, push it back, it means to postpone. Push the time, later.
And accommodate, it's to make convenient for or do a favor for somebody. So in this case, Dave is doing a favor for Nikki. He's trying to make it convenient for him by changing the time to suit him.
Afterward, Nikki shows her appreciation and says that she's looking forward to their call on Friday. All right, now having gone through some of these words and phrases, let's have a listen to the dialogue one more time.
Hello, Dave. This is Nikki calling from the New York office. Are you ready for our 9 a.m. conference call?
Hi, Nikki. I am here. But unfortunately, Craig, the department manager, is not here. He has been called into the Singapore office at the last minute.
I see. Well, in that case, we will need to reschedule, as I need his input and approval to proceed with the project.
Sure thing. Let's reschedule at your earliest convenience, as we cannot afford any delays with this project.
I can reschedule the call for Friday morning at 11 a.m., and I will be free for 2 hours.
Craig already has a meeting at 10 a.m. That will likely run for an hour or more. However, I will ask him to push it back to accommodate you.
I would appreciate that very much. I'm looking forward to our call on Friday.
All right, so after listening to the dialogue, it kind of reminds me that, in a lot of these really big companies or fast-paced corporate environments, rescheduling happens all the time, right? And it's kind of tough because your boss or some higher-up management might have a supposedly more important schedule than you, and you might want to reschedule it to accommodate them, right? Especially if you need their feedback or approval, it's important that you need to reschedule to get that FaceTime.
Yeah, and in big companies with big meetings, to reschedule things can be quite difficult.
Right.
Because there's so many different people involved.
Right. I mean, I think that rescheduling a meeting is obviously not ideal. And to really avoid that, you want to make sure that everyone understands the importance of the meeting or the project so that they can also prioritize it, right? But it will inevitably happen from time to time. And, I mean, you just kind of want to make sure if it's on your side, that doesn't happen too often. Otherwise, that might affect relationships with both, colleagues as well as with clients.
Yeah, if things are constantly being rescheduled, it can have a negative impact on things. I know recently I was doing freelance work for one company, and they rescheduled so many times that finally I just told them I couldn't work with them anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's got to be annoying. All right, well, that wraps it up for today. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Catch you next time.